So a young American nun receives an invitation to relocate to a convent in Italy after hers closes down. Sound cool? Because I'm here to talk about Immaculate from 2024. So I literally just got home from seeing this in the theater opening day, and I just couldn't wait to talk about it, really. Let's just say that I had to drive home with my jaw still on the floor. I mean, what a third act. This was directed by Michael Mohan, who I was not previously familiar with at all. I know I say that a lot, but I guess that's just the case with a lot of movies. And it was written by Andrew Lobel, I don't know how to pronounce that. And this was his first work in like feature-length films. And it's got an entire cast of people that I was completely unfamiliar with. Sydney Sweeney seemingly, being the star here. And, I know she'd been in some stuff. She's a pretty steady working actress. I just hadn't seen anything with her. I know she had been sitting on this script for a while. She had a big part in this movie coming to fruition, and I just thought that was cool. She kind of at times, reminded me of like a young Naomi Watts, who I absolutely adore. And I have to say, the first act already had me interested movie-wise, but I wasn't into Sydney's acting. She just seemed way too ordinary, super fucking bland and out of place, but I'm still, don't get me wrong, I have to say once tension started building, she really started to change my mind, and I'm really happy to say that. Because, by the third act, I was completely convinced that she was the right person for this role, and I'd say she almost even approaches like Mia Goth's level. Almost. So I went into this fairly blind. I didn't read or watch any reviews. I didn't watch any trailers, and I wasn't familiar with, like I said, anyone involved with this film. So you're probably wondering what made me want to see this. And I guess I'm just kind of interested in like religion-themed horror. I always have been. Not like faith-based shit, don't get me wrong, just religious undertones. Especially with a healthy, good old dose of blasphemy. And here I did get hints of films like The Exorcist, The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, and even, more modern stuff like Starry Eyes, Midsummer, and maybe even a little Saint Maud. So you've got Sister Cecilia, played by Sydney Sweeney, who is she's very young for a nun. Turns out that she had a near-death experience as a child, which she has always believed was an act of God, and she decided to devote her whole life to Catholicism, from a very early age. And after her convent closes down in the U.S., she's contacted by Father Tedeschi to join an Italian convent that takes care of aging nuns kind of like nearing the ends of their lives. Now, this film does kind of take its time to reveal itself, but you do see very early on that this convent has a very sinister side to it. Which, in retrospect, that scene kind of surprised me, since a lot of things here are kind of kept vague, but I mean that in a very good way. And it's not long after Cecilia arrives, she starts to see, like strange things that she was really not expecting. She doesn't really give it too much thought at first. New convent, new country, different culture, right? But after being there for a while, she has a horrible nightmare. And the next day, she doesn't feel well, and, it's like frequently vomiting. Something's definitely wrong with her. She doesn't quite know what. So she's taken to see the convent's doctor, who runs like a series of tests on her, and then finally wheels in an ultrasound machine. I was pretty confused by that at first, but then I remembered, ultrasound machines, they're not just used for pregnant women. They have other uses as well. But the doctor scans Cecilia's stomach, and you see the screen, and right away, she's pregnant. And she's questioned rigorously, of course, but she insists that she has never in her life, had sex. And my mind was kind of racing during this scene. Like, is she lying? Did she have sex with somebody, before she left for Italy? And there are not many men at the Italian convent. I think just 4, if I remember correctly, but which obviously is, more than enough for, yeah. So after it is determined that she is pregnant, and there's no possible way she could have had sex with a man, she is believed to be the next Virgin Mary. Now, I don't for a second believe a single word from the Bible, but, I am familiar with a large portion of it. I'm sure you know the story of the Mary and the baby Jesus and the complete disregard for how science works. And other strange things start, happening to Cecilia. Like she starts losing teeth, she starts losing fingernails. They're falling off. She knows something is absolutely not right. Well, I think I've said enough about the plot. And if you think I've said too much, believe me, I haven't. I really fucking liked this movie. I thought it was. I'm just gonna say I thought it was great. I don't know if "great" is the correct word, but man, I liked it in every category, every way. I think everything here was well done. Strong acting across the board, every single character. A solid script, excellent cinematography. The parts with like the nuns singing together in the convent were so cool, beautiful and chilling at the same time, and I like the differing personalities of all the nuns. Very cool. This film kind of had me in the palm of its hand, just the way it should be, and I wasn't like bored for a goddamn second here. I wasn't distracted by anything. My mind didn't wander off, and believe me, that's not an easy feat. Now, there were a few jump scares that I could have done without, because this is a film that I kind of think is above that sort of thing. The atmosphere is dark and sinister. There are plenty of creepy moments. And there's also a decent amount of gore here with no holding back. So if you have a weak stomach, this might not be for you. I thought early on, like I said, that Sydney Sweeney was going to be the weak link, but she pulls through after, in my opinion, kind of a rough start. Maybe somebody slightly better would have, elevated this material even further, but I'm not complaining much, and this is definitely my favorite film of the year so far, or at least tied maybe with stop motion. If you like religion-themed horror movies like the ones I named earlier, I would highly recommend this to you. I'm giving Immaculate an 8 out of 10. My only complaints are, like I said, the jump scares earlier on. They really didn't need to happen. And then Sydney Sweeney's kind of boring acting during the first act. But like I said, she totally fucking pulls through. It could be seen as a big deal since she is the lead. But yeah, no, I by the end of this, she totally had me convinced. That and everything else is strong enough to kind of carry her, until she gets to where she needed to be, thankfully. If you've seen this, let me know what you think. I know I've seen a lot of, it seems to be kind of polarizing. People seem to love it or hate it. I really enjoyed it. Cheers, guys.